Milner, self-taught from County Meath, and she is heading stateside with her creations, and she's chatting to us next on Late Lunch. Now, my next guest is returning to Late Lunch because she was with me one time here in the studio when she was starting out on the road, and we spoke to her on the phone subsequently, but we haven't been in touch since prior to the pandemic, probably for good reason. But I'm delighted to say hello again to Milner, Sarah O'Rourke. Hello, Sarah.
Hi, how are you? Great to talk to you again.
Great to chat to you too. Well, there's been so much water under the bridge since we last spoke. And you know what? You're one of the people that would come to mind with the pandemic and the close down and everything, with your beautiful creations. You know, no racing on, no ladies' days, no weddings. Obviously, you were in bother, were you?
Oh, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Everything came to a standstill there for a while. But you know what? I kept going. I rebranded my brand and redid my website. I just took a few courses online and started doing workshops as well. So I kept ticking over now. But at the start, it was a bit worrying. You know, it was only supposed to be 2 weeks and then it was nearly 2 years. But
yes.
I've started to come back with a bang now.
You have, and that's why you're with me today, and talk about being looking ahead to the coming days and weeks. It's fantastic. But you know what? In a way, there's an ill wind. You were able to regroup, reassess, build your online presence, so you used the time very well.
Exactly, yeah. I didn't just kind of sit back and wait for it to kind of start up again. I did this thing called Crafting Business Programme. So it was run by Crafting Europe and the Craft Council of Ireland. And it brought together different creatives, and we got to learn from industry experts, and they kind of pointed us in different directions of what's wrong with your business, how do you need to improve it. So that was brilliant from that perspective. And then after that, this year, I have applied for another thing with Crafting Europe. It was an open call. And it's basically to go abroad to trade shows and gather information and see if you want to export your business with the trade shows. And 16 of us in Europe were chosen, and I'm one of them. So I'm off to New York in a few weeks.
Oh, you
for a trade show.
Lucky duck, yeah. And well done to you, because it was a hot competition, and as I said, you were one of a small number chosen in Europe. So what will New York open for you? What's your your whole modus operandi of going there? What do you hope to achieve, find out, learn?
Well, so I did showcase Ireland for the first time this year, so that opened new doors for me, first of all. So what I want to do is go over and see what the market is like, see who's over there. There's actually 2 trade shows that I'm going to visit, and there's some Irish people in the second trade show I'm going to go to. So I need to gather the information. How do you export your business? How do you deal with customs? How do you get the stuff over to the trade show? So I've lots of questions. I want to see what area, because these trade shows are huge. I mean, the RDS is big, but these are about 4 or 5 times the size.
Yes.
The RDS. So I need to kind of figure out where do I belong as such. So I'm going to go gather all the information, see where I'd like my own stand, what section I fit into, things like that, and just come back and then gather my thoughts and then hopefully start to export to the US.
So that's the 12th of August, you're heading for the Big Apple. But just before that, how are you going to keep going with all this? You're over to London for London Hat Week from the 2nd to the 7th of August. This is big, isn't it?
So 110 milliners entered a competition called the Hat Talk competition, and they were worldwide milliners, and the top 10 were to go to London for London Hat Week, and my design was chosen as one of the top 10.
Great.
So that was very exciting as well. So over there then during the exhibition they're going to choose the top 3 milliners over there as well. So it's all go at the minute.
Well, we're keeping in touch with you and with fingers crossed that you'll be in that top 3. Tell us again and remind us about yourself, materials wise, your designs, all this is your own.
It's all my own, so I hand make all my fabrics as well in house. And once a sheet of it's made, you can't actually make another one because it's all bespoke. So that's like my niche. And as well, all the cut-offs are reworked back into the design, so it is a sustainable brand as well. And I actually started out studying fashion when I was 17, and I actually didn't like it. So my degree's in sculpture now. So I think the sculptural elements come through in my designs. And I was there at the Dublin Maker there at the weekend, just gone as well, and got to meet loads of people that, fellow creatives and people that really could appreciate my designs as well. So it's nice to be back out there showing off all these pieces and getting the public's response as well. It's really great to get back out there.
In terms of what you do and your designs, is minimal better than lots?
Not necessarily. I think it depends on your personality. If you're quite introvert, people wouldn't wear a massive big creation. They'd wear something minimal. But I mean, I can create that for you as well. You know. But then I like the big pieces. The bigger, the better. The ones that make the statement for me personally is what I go for. But I cater for everybody. And some people say, "Oh, a hat isn't for me." But I also create beautiful tiaras and combs and hairpins as well. So it doesn't have to just be a hat. It can be little minimal pieces as well. Or even I do bridal pieces and communion pieces now as well. So I've expanded my my line as well over the past 2 years.
See, I worry, you see, Sarah, when I'm watching the television and the race days and the big day is on, you know, for the best dressed, and it's windy and these creations start to move about, the big ones. You know what I'm talking about? Your heart must be in your mouth too with them.
Well, this is why you see all the lovely ladies doing lovely poses with their hands on their heads.
Yes.
They're just kind of hoping they're not going to take off with the wind. But there is a few tricks as to how to keep the hats on your head. So I think everybody kind of follows those tricks.
Okay.
Not away.
All right. So there are ways and means.
Exactly.
You know, when you talk about bespoke pieces and you create, somebody comes to you and says, "I have a wedding coming up, right? I want something for this." Is that it? One day and one day only, and that piece is just put away forever? Or is it possible, you know, to get much more wear out of it?
I think it's possible to get much more wear out of it, because you can always change your dress and your shoes and your accessories and still have a hat, or you can add like a brooch to the hat or something and make it look different again. So it's definitely more than just a one-day piece. And I found as well, people tend to borrow other people's millinery for their different events as well, which is a great thing. You know, it's not just going to sit in the wardrobe for years to come. Because I know myself, I've worn the same piece to different things. So I'm not afraid to do so. Plus, with the whole sustainable fashion being so popular now, why would you just wear it once? If you spent all this money, why would you just wear it once? You want to show it off.
Doesn't the headpiece, though, set off the outfit? It is the crowning glory. That's fair to say, isn't it?
I think so, because I always start with my hats and then
do you? Yeah.
And the outfit around it first.
Okay.
I know some people can be different, though, and they go with the outfit first and then plan the hat around it. But personally, I start with the hat and then go from there.
What about colours? Are you into bold colours when it comes to your creations?
I like the bold colour. I have a beautiful piece that was my centrepiece there at the weekend, and it is red and purple, and it has beautiful red and purple pheasant feathers in it as well, and they're about 1/2 metre long, the feathers. So it's quite a big piece. Yeah, quite a statement piece.
I think feathers are something that I particularly love. You mentioned the pheasant there, and they are a beautiful feather, and they can be coloured as well. But all types of feathers, from the very, genteel feather that you can just blow with a little breath and it vibrates or whatever, to the more robust one like the feather of the pheasant and beyond. You use them a lot, do you, in your creations?
It depends on what I'm creating, but I do like feathers because when the wind catches them, they blow beautifully. And even if you're trying to film your designs and then the little kind of breeze goes over them, it just makes for lovely videoing and editing as well. But I think feathers can set them off sometimes. And as well, I mean, you could use beading as well. It just depends, again, what your personal choice is, what the customer's personal choice is. But I like a little feather now, I have to admit. But not a little feather. The bigger the better, I say. Who am I kidding?
And Sarah, what influences you? What influences you in life and your creations?
I don't know. It kind of just comes to me like an epiphany, to be honest, most of the time. I did a show there a few weeks ago with Celia Home and Lee down in Limerick, and the theme for that was Bastille Day. So it had to be a French tribute because the designers were all French and Irish. So I picked the Triskel symbol, which is a French Celtic symbol, and that's how I based my collection for that particular event around. But I mean, sometimes I could just look at something and like the shape, and I'm like, I wonder if I could manipulate the fabric into that. It's very hard to describe how it all comes to me, to be honest. It's very hard to describe. But it does. It just kind of hits me, and I find the more I make, the more creative I become.
And you see it, obviously you see it in your mind's eye, do you? Or it just comes to you and
exactly
you see it there.
That's it, because I'm not a drawer, so I wouldn't draw them out first. I'm a sculptor, so I make the fabrics and then I start to shape them into their shape, and then it just becomes something beautiful, as I like to say. Well,
may I say you do it beautifully, and just remind listeners where they can check out you and your creations.
They can check me out. I actually have a stockist in Paris Court Town Centre in Dublin, Marion Cuddy Design Emporium. She has lots of Irish designers in there. And you can also get me on my website and social medias, and it's Saraden Designs. And then my website's saradendesigns.com.
That's right, saradendesigns.com. It's all there. So here we go. London, New York. It's only a matter of time before it's Paris and Milan for our Sarah. I wish you well over the coming weeks. It's exciting times. All the best of luck to you, and keep in touch with us, won't you?